Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to everyone to this very exciting event. This afternoon is the end of a 4-day festival of measurement and effectiveness research, case studies, and new thinking. Over the last 4 days, we've had 14 different sessions, 25 speakers in 4 hours, and over 400 people tuning in for that work. We'll be slicing and dicing those presentations up and putting them online next week. But this afternoon, we're here to announce and celebrate the award winners for the MeasureUp Awards 2021. My name's Gayla Roy, CEO of the IAB, and with me here on screen is Natalie Stanbury, our Director of Research, and will be your host this afternoon. The IAB MeasureUp Awards were established last year in 2020 to recognise and celebrate great Australian trade media research and to encourage further investment and rigorous thinking to lift the overall quality of media research in the market. This year being particularly challenging, we think our industry needs at least one reason, and we think this is a great reason to celebrate great trade research. The awards are open to media owners, platforms and tech companies for digital media or cross-media advertising effectiveness research, as well as cultural and societal and audience behaviour research. So that's the criteria of the work that we're assessing today. Now, do you want to have a chat about who won last year?
Absolutely. So last year, our first year of the MeasureUp Awards, we had two very proud winners. We had Playground XYZ won the Best Advertising Effectiveness Research, and we had R Media win the Best Cultural Society or Consumer Behaviour Research. Playground's innovative research provided the ability to conduct eye tracking at scale, which increased the market understanding of the science behind attention and found new ways that these insights could be implemented into real-time media buys. And R Media's Defiant research addressed a knowledge gap with unique insights into women aged 50 plus, finding that these women defied everything that the market thought they knew about them. Both of these studies are available on the IAB website.
As per last year, our submissions were judged by a fabulous range of senior media agency representatives from the MFA Interactive Committee. You can see their happy faces on screen. And they look for projects with clear, straightforward results that translated into messages and action for the digital industry marketers and advertiser. So the criteria in a clear way is clear objectives, robust methodology, insightful results, and demonstrated impact, and an innovative subject matter. So they were all the things that we're taking into consideration. And I know they all actually really love judging these awards.
So based on the criteria there that Gay has been through, the first round of judging resulted in a short list of 5 companies. And we'd like to send our big congratulations to these 5 companies who were selected in this short list for final round consideration by the judges. So very well done to all of them.
And we will be sharing some of that work on the website for the winners and non-winners, but we are at the point of revealing who our winners for 2021 are. And I was going to do a really bad drum roll, but I will just we'll flip the screen, and we have 2 winners again this year. And our 2 winners are The Guardian and Val Morgan. So The Guardian have won for Best Cultural, Societal and Consumer Behaviour Research, and Val Morgan for Best Advertising Effectiveness Research. And we have on hand our 2 winners. If Braden and Adam want to flick their cameras on.
There we go. Yay!
Yay! Huge congratulations. Well done.
Well done.
Lots of debate and discussion from agency people, but these 2 really stood out.
So I'll give you some big congratulations also from the judges. Sian Whitnell here, who is the Chief Digital Officer at OMD and the Chair of the MFA Interactive Committee, has provided a lovely quote on the winners, that they demonstrated original thinking, insights that were relevant and actionable for the whole market, and had the impact on changing behaviour. So for The Guardian, the judges found quality, in-depth cultural and societal research that demonstrated their connection with readers and understanding their values, and they've leveraged that connection to inform and benefit clients and advertisers. Val Morgan stood out to the judges in the ad effectiveness category as being extremely applicable to a current measurement gap in the industry. They clearly defined a market challenge and effectively used data and data science to provide a greater level of media accountability. Well done, guys.
And we're going to actually have short presentations from each of the winners and to go through their work. They'll only be sort of scratching the surface in what's there. So anyone who's on the awards and want to see more of the work, they're welcome to get in touch later. But I'm really looking forward to see these presentations. And we're going to start with Adam at The Guardian. Over to you, Adam.
Thank you. Let me try and share my screen without a fail here. How does that look? Does that work?
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. So the Power of the Purpose was a very extensive piece of research that we did globally, and I'll talk you through some of the insights and the methodology throughout this presentation. So as purpose has become quite a hot topic in the industry, we wanted to start off by testing and finding out if this extends to the consumer. So we did a series of research projects and surveys with our own readers, and we found out that they absolutely do. 84% of our readers found that, agreed that Australians have a greater expectation of corporations to be socially and environmentally responsible now when compared to 5 years ago. And 90% agreed that that expectation is going to grow in the future. Now, whilst the expectation has grown and will grow, what we found was that there was a shortfall, or brands are actually behind the 8 ball when it comes to delivering on that purpose, where only 21% of respondents agreed that the brands are actually effectively communicating their purpose, and only 47% agreed that corporations are making more of an effort now compared to 5 years ago. So why is that important? Well, we also asked respondents how impactful they feel their individual actions have on making a personal difference to these social and environmental issues. And by far, the two most impactful actions were, number one, choosing products and brands that support that issue. And secondly, through personal lifestyle changes, which of course are largely tied with the brands that they consume. So that's where we teamed up with Ipsos, and we did a global study across the UK, US, and Australian markets, comprising of both qual and quant. The qual was a 3-day online community with both B2C and B2B interviews. And the quant was a representative and weighted survey across the 3 markets, looking at age, gender, and location, and also category splits in each market, with a sample of 1,000 in each market. So as I mentioned before, there's that shortfall, or brands aren't actually keeping up with client or consumer expectation. So we wanted to determine what consumers define as a brand that's purposeful. The 5 standouts here, or 5 traits that stood out, were progressive, trustworthy, impactful, authentic, and empowerment. We call these the 5 pillars of purpose. Now, to distill those individually, progressive is about constantly evolving and adapting. Trustworthy is about being reliable and living by your brand values. Empowering is about empowering the consumer to feel as if they're making a difference in the world too. Authenticity is about being genuine, transparent, open to feedback, and not being tokenistic. And impactful is about demonstrating how your brand is making a difference in the world. So we asked respondents in each market how purposeful advertising has an impact on their unique or individual consumer actions. Now, what we see here are the top two boxes on a 5-point scale. And what we found was a majority of the remaining 50% or so were actually neutrals. And to my point earlier, what we expect to see are those neutrals to shift to agrees in the near future. A few call outs here. 47% of Australians would trust an advertised brand if they're purposeful, and 45% would change their opinion of a brand if they perceive that brand as being purposeful. Again, some actions further down on the consumer journey. What we also did is we looked at these actions from the perspective of the 4 stages of the consumer funnel. And what we found was that 80% of Australians were impacted in at least one stage of the consumer funnel, and 43% of Australians were impacted in every single stage of that consumer funnel. So we really wanted to understand what that means for The Guardian. So The Guardian is synonymous with having that unique editorial content that aligns with brand purpose messages. And we wanted to see if that extends to our audiences. And what we found was that compared to the Australian market, our audiences are significantly more likely to be receptive of purposeful advertising. The two that really stuck out are the loyalty metrics here, where our audiences were 56% more likely to subscribe or follow a brand on social media if they're purposeful, and 70% more likely to share a blog or post on social media if that brand is purposeful. So it's not just the consumers are actually increasingly aware that brand's purpose is measured throughout the entire supply chain. And as audiences and consumers are becoming more media savvy, they're identifying or realizing that the brands in which brands which brands partner with are a part of that supply chain. There was an interesting piece or article that came out of the UK a couple of weeks back, whereby 85% of the market said that they will boycott brands that advertise alongside misinformation around COVID. And it just goes to show how media savvy audiences are becoming. So another major component of the project was a series of ad testing with a conjoint analysis. So in each market, we looked at ads in situ, and we got respondents to rate the level of impact of those ads. And in each market, we had 10 advertisers with 3 different ad types and 6 different media. And what we found was by far the most impactful variable within that mix was media selection, accounting for around 60% of total impact globally. And that's where media really has a high expectation of being purposeful across all of the markets, with around 70% of respondents globally saying that it's important for media companies to act in a purposeful way. And what we're looking at here is only media companies. So you would imagine the expectation of news brands, especially given all of the events of the past 18 months. So looking back on the purpose pillars that we covered earlier on, we use these to measure how purposeful each media platform is in the Australian market. And what we found was by far the most purposeful media in Australia was online and print newspapers, indexing at 148. And this was followed by television with an index of 118. We were really surprised by podcasts initially. We expected that to be a lot higher, but what we came to realize was that a lot of publishers are doing some fantastic work with podcasts out there. but there are also a lot of conspiracy theorists and misinformation podcasts, which of course bring that index down a lot. And again, the same for the United States, which was very similar to Australia, with online and print newspapers again being the highest indexing with 155, and television being the second with an index of 117. The United Kingdom was the most unique of the three markets. The only market of the three that didn't have online and print newspaper as the most purposeful, with television being the number one in that market. And it just really goes to show the major role that the BBC plays in that market. So overall, what we kind of came to was 7 implications for marketers. The first being, what is your story? So brands really need to demonstrate a clear purpose and stick to it. The second, curate your audience and ensure your media partner aligns with your purpose message. Third, be willing to engage with your consumers and be open to feedback and be very receptive of that feedback, and be very mindful of the call out culture out there. Number 4, do then tell. Live by your purpose and take your consumers on your journey. Number 5, shift your call to action and empower your consumer to make a real difference in the world. Number 6, execution must reflect purpose. Need to be consistent and don't be tokenistic in this matter. Number 7, share your impact. Demonstrate how your brand is being purposeful and a difference that it is making in the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Now we're going to hear from Braden Clark and the VMO winner, winning presentation.
Coming.
Over to you, Braden.
Hi, folks. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Sorry, just give me one moment here. For joining us for the MeasureUp Awards and to hear more about cutting edge research in digital media. I want to kick off by saying thanks to the IAB for running an awards like this. It's great to have an event that highlights research, insights and analytics, and which sometimes don't really get the headlines that they sometimes deserve. So the hour model, hourly outdoor unified reach. What's it all about? So first going to kick off with a little bit of background. So who are VMO? VMO is Australia's industry leader in digital out of home. We provide brands with quality digital advertising outdoor across a range of key consumer destinations. These include office towers, petro and convenience locations, health clubs and gyms, and of course, shopping centre retail. VMO's network is built for attention and features some powerful and unique placements with full support for full motion video creatives and an inventory suite including 2 full AV networks in on-the-go TV and active TV, which provide an immersive outdoor TV experience, adding the attention-grabbing power of audio to petro, convenience and health club environments. All up, VMO's network consists of 10,000 screens across over 2,000 locations and reaches a unique fortnightly audience of 14.7 million. Now let's talk specifically about programmatic outdoor and how the hour model comes into play. So what is programmatic outdoor? So simply put, programmatic outdoor or programmatic digital out of home, or if you like PDO, refers to the activation of digital out of home inventory using automated trading technologies, including real-time bidding and programmatic guaranteed. So programmatic capability has revolutionized the trading of many channels, including TV, digital and audio, and is now unlocking a new world of flexibility, control, and targeting for out-of-home advertisers and leveling the playing field with those one-to-one environments. This allows brands to target premium outdoor inventory in real time and with no pre-commitment, and gives buyers autonomy over their targeting, creatives, scheduling, and more, all in real time. Notably, however, programmatic outdoor is traded in a currency that is different to both traditional outdoor bookings on one hand and to device-based programmatic, as you would see in a web or app-based environment. So there are some quirks and nuances to be aware of for buyers. So similar to device-based programmatic, trading is based on impressions and it does use a CPM pricing model, but how the impression is defined differs in the one-to-many environment of out-of-home versus a one-to-one environment that you'd see on a website, for example. In out-of-home, we can no longer use a single ad load as a proxy for delivering an ad to one person, because we know that a single ad play will reach a variable amount of people based on a range of different criteria. So in programmatic outdoor, there's an audience index, which is applied that indicates the reach of a single spot play. So whenever a single spot play occurs, how many contacts was that single play able to reach? And that audience index is called the impression multiplier. So let's take a look at how this plays out in practice. So spot plays times impression multiplier equals the impressions delivered in a programmatic outdoor environment. So the amount of impressions delivered is determined not just by the number of ad loads, but by the audience that is exposed to those ads. It's a bit of a similar concept to a cost per viewable impression type of a campaign in the one-to-one sphere. To provide a real-world example of how this actually works in practice, a shopping centre food court screen will have a higher impression multiplier during its lunchtime peak, where a single spot play could be reaching, say, for example, an average of 10 people and generating 10 impressions with that single spot play. If you look at that same food court screen at 9 a.m. when the centre just opens and maybe most of the food court venues aren't open yet, the impression multiplier will be much lower. It may be closer to 1 or even below 1, depending on the characteristics of that centre. So you can see that that impression count is variable based on both the spot plays and the audience index. And the impression multiplier should vary from hour to hour and from day to day to reflect the real world audience flows of each screens. So in programmatic outdoor, the CPM rate that a buyer plays is thought of not as the cost for 1,000 displays, but the cost to make 1,000 contacts, which will take a variable number of plays. So it means that programmatic outdoor is a truly reach-based transaction. The cost is indexed based on the reach of each spot play. And so VMO identified an immediate need for a robust and granular audience data set that could actually give us accurate per screen, per hour audience modeling based on reach. With work on an industry standard currency that can offer this type of granularity still underway, we needed an immediate solution that could provide accurate reach metrics for our programmatic campaigns, which led to the creation of the hour model. So going under the hood to look at exactly how we put that together, we worked with an independent marketing effective consultancy, Data to Decisions, who had a powerful data science and analytics team who were really able to do the heavy lifting that was required for this type of research. Let's dig a little further. There was a 5-stage process that we used to build this model. Initially, first-party audience data was harnessed from VMO's proprietary lens-based facial analytics and audience measurement platform, which is called DART. Additional data was then gathered from trusted and credible third parties, aggregated and mined. And the third step is where the project really started to take shape as external data scientists analysed and modeled all of this third and first party data to check its predictive strength and accuracy in terms of driving traffic volumes. So this produced a data set called Dart-RNF, which gave us the screen level traffic for every hour for each of our screens. Step 4 involved further extrapolation of the Dart output to break the reach down to a per spot level, so we could figure out the reach of an individual spot play at any given hour on any given screen. And this data is then made available for programmatic activation so that buyers can buy against those reach metrics in real time. Give a bit further detail on how that all rolls in. So I mentioned Dart, which is our camera vision based facial analytics measurement platform. Dart's a really unique asset for VMO and provides the data that forms the spine of our model. And it's essentially a hardware and software layer that captures anonymous human to screen interaction using a lens device in a fully privacy compliant manner. So it tracks metrics including footfall, traffic, and engagement, and provides us with really crucial insights into activity and footfall across our network. Dart was independently reviewed by PwC in 2017, confirming the platform's counting methodology and measurement accuracy. So our data science team from Data to Decisions analysed over 20 million data points from Dart in the initial development and training of the model. And it's really this valuable pool of first-party measured real-world human interaction data that was so vital to the development of our model. The next step was to bring in further data from third parties. So you can see 5 of the contributing data partners on your screen there. Ampol, formerly Caltex, who contributed data for our on-the-go petro convenience vertical. Bureau of Statistics data, which was used across the board. Fitness and Lifestyle Group, which provided us with really valuable visitation and membership data for our gyms networks. And then also Roy Morgan and the Shopping Centre Council providing some contributing data points there. Really with the idea that we could validate the audience behaviours and the screen level traffic with those additional inputs. So then the real heavy lifting happened with the machine learning. So this is where we used an external data science team to make sure it was hands-off modelling and to really access some quite incredible data science smarts that we're able to tap into. So the team used advanced data science techniques to fuse Dart's insights with the wealth of third-party data and used a machine learning algorithm to consider a range of inputs and develop accurate modelling on a per screen, per hour basis. So the resulting output was an advanced data set that unveils the average reach for each VMO placement, indexed by day, by hour, and by screen. Further extrapolation then happened on top of that model to break the data down even further to a per spot level. So not just how many audience, well, what's the audience in front of this screen over an hour, but for any spot play that occurs during a given hour. So while Dart-RNF provided us the hourly traffic volumes from each screen, we did need to further break this down and extrapolate it based on the dwell times and spot lengths that we see in each location. So this is what created the hour model, which is our impression multiplier data set. And let me give you a look at what the output actually looks like to kind of contextualize it for you. So this screen shows an example of 4 of our retail screens. And each line in the chart here represents one of these individual screens and the multiplier pattern that we see across a Monday to Sunday week split out at an hourly granularity. So as you can see from this chart, while the screens have some similarities, they're all portrait screens in a retail environment. They all have drastically different traffic patterns. Not only does the scale of the audience vary, but the pattern of the audience varies from site to site, with screens experiencing different audience peaks and different audience troughs. So it really gives you an idea of how variant this data can be and how vital it was for us to have accurate reporting and modelling to be able to calculate the reach on different screens, so that when a buyer is getting a spot play on a certain screen, they're getting the adequate value through that impression multiplier. So if we look at Monday as a quick example here, we see that the top traffic screen here has almost double the traffic of the lower traffic screen, or lowest traffic screen, and also experiences those different peaks and troughs. We also see that some screens have a longer peak period, whereas other screens have a kind of peak for 1 hour and then drop off more rapidly. So really granular data that we're able to provide here for the programmatic trading. We're just showing 4 examples here. Each of those examples would have 168 data points just to power 1 week. So across the whole of our inventory, there's over 1.5 million cells of data that go into powering the impression statistics just for a single week's worth of trading. So we realized we had to get this granularity of data to be able to provide the right level of accuracy and value to buyers in programmatic outdoor. The data is then activated in real time programmatically. So these impression multipliers per hour per screen are passed out to buyers in real time prior to their bid. So DSPs are able to use this for planning, activation and reporting down to an individual ad spot level. So that's the hour model in a nutshell. And just to cover some of the key impacts and results that we saw. I mean, this was a project that took over 18 months of rigorous development, testing and validation, and retesting and revalidation. But we launched it to market in October last year to positive feedback from marketers and agencies, and also plugged it into our programmatic setup to power programmatic trading around that same time. So for the first time, our buyers can accurately plan, trade and post report on an hourly basis and in real time based on our model's data. Importantly, across all of our Australian environments, retail, gyms and health clubs and petrol and convenience, and also across both metro and regional areas, leveraging a unique hourly traffic footprint for each of our screens. And so, yeah, we're broadly regarded as one of the leading impression multiplier methodologies locally, with that per screen, per hour reach modeling down to a spot level, and really providing clients with that transparency and confidence about the reach metrics they're getting from a programmatic trade. So this has really helped make VML a preferred supplier of programmatic outdoor, and helped drive us forward into accelerating programmatic further for 2022. Thank you, folks. That's the hour model.
Thank you so much, Braden. Thank you for being generous and sharing that information. So not everyone wants to get under the hood, so that's fabulous. And thank you too to Adam for his presentation. Both very, very different. And I love when we can celebrate research people and technical people, because we often don't, you know, coming from that background, we often don't get the acclaim and the glamour that some of our more commercial friends do. So congratulations to you both, and thank you so much for being generous and sharing that. And for anyone tuning in, I know there are a few research directors and commercial directors who are now building in the MeasureUp Awards into their KPIs for their teams. So time to get thinking, get cracking. Nat's going to do a really lovely summary in the incoming months on what the judges really look for, a little bit more sort of guidance on what really makes a great entry, because it is sometimes hard to really understand what judges are looking for. So we'll do that. And Nat's also volunteered, or I don't know if I volunteered you for it, Nat, but to get back to as many of the people who entered as possible, and with some of that judges' feedback in a constructive way. So hopefully MeasureUp Awards will be live next year, and we can hand you your trophies in person rather than deliver them. But I'm looking forward to.
The winners want to show their trophy now.
You got your trophies there?
I'd like to really thank the IAB as well as the MFA judges and Ipsos for being such amazing partners on this, as well as my Guardian team. They've been just superb with kind of getting this happening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise, like to thank the IAB. So congratulate the Guardian and the other finalists, and yeah, a big thanks as well to the Data to Decisions team and the internal research team at VMO who put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this project.
Fantastic. Thank you for everyone tuning in today. There are copies of a summary of the presentations up on our website now that you can download. And as I said, if you want to see more, either get in contact with Braden or Adam directly, or get in touch with us and we'll link you up together. So I hope everyone has a fabulous afternoon. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.